Hi, hello, welcome to Pharma Tip Zone. So, today we are going to discuss the topic about forced degradation. Here in today's session, we will discuss about how do we do forced degradation and what are the conditions of forced degradation. So, forced degradation. As we know that forced degradation, it is an intrinsic property, it's a stability indicating property that is done by exposing the drug or the medication to extreme physical and chemical conditions. So, firstly, the required amount of drug is measured and exposed for mentioned period of time with degradation conditions. The degradation conditions include physical and chemical degradation. So, after exposing for the mentioned period of time in the degradation conditions, the drug is analyzed for any degradation impurities, thereby confirming its susceptibility to the mentioned degradation condition and analyzing its specificity. Here I will explain forced degradation by using HPLC technique using UV detector. So first we will expose the drug for physical and chemical conditions that include acid degradation, base degradation, hydrolysis, degradation by humidity, thermal degradation, photolytic degradation, and so on. After exposing for the mentioned period of time for these conditions, the drug is then analyzed under UV detector. So here one should take the note that after exposing the drug to stressed conditions for acid conditions and base conditions, for acid condition the drug is exposed with strong acid, and for the base condition the drug is exposed with strong base. After exposing the conditions of acid and base, the compound should be neutralized before preparing the compound to its nominal concentrations of respective RS and assay concentrations. Then only after the sample should be injected into your system for analyzing. As so far we have discussed about what is forced degradation and what are the conditions of forced degradation and how do we expose the drug. So now we are going to learn how to analyze the forced degradation compound. So after exposing the compound to forced degradation conditions of the mentioned time, the drug is brought to its nominal concentrations for its assay and related substances or organic impurities concentrations. So now with that concentrations, the drug is injected into HPLC systems and is analyzed for its purity by assay and percent of impurities by RS method. So here in forced degradation, as we mentioned, it is for knowing the specificity, stability of the drug. Along with that, we will calculate mass balance of the compound. So for specificity, we will calculate for its purity, peak purity, and its retention time interference. And for percent of impurities, we will calculate how much the compound is degraded. And for mass balance, we will compare or we will make the ratio of the control condition with degrade conditions, and by that we will know the compound that is exposed to the certain degradation condition is having the generation of impurities, and also they are in the within acceptance criteria, and by confirming its susceptibility or the stability of the compound. So first, specificity. So specificity is a parameter that is telling you that the compound that is having specific retention time and no other compound is having interference at the retention time of the mentioned peak. For example, if you are having a compound and main peak and it is having two known impurities, so now the degraded compound that is exposed for the stressed condition, after the exposing, when you inject the sample into the system, that should also show no interference at the main compound retention time as well as known impurities retention time. So along with that, it should pass the purity flag of the compound. So when the compound is showing the purity threshold greater than the purity angle, it is showing that it is confirming that the compound is having no co-elution of the third compound in the within the compound. So by knowing the purity threshold and purity angle as well as no interference of the retention time, we will confirm that the forced condition is specific. And now percent of impurities. So when you expose the drug to the forced condition of above mentioned, so firstly I have mentioned the physical and chemical condition. One of the conditions must show degradation about 5 to 20%. The degradation of the impurities should be within the 5 to 20% of the condition.